Happy Saturday, everybody. I am Barbara Ann, and welcome back to my channel, Straight Out of Context. Copyright disclaimer. Under the Copyright Act of 1976, I am within my full legal right to share these following clips via video and audio. The following creators allow reshare, redistribution, and download of their content, and as always, I credit. Fair use, public domain, TikTok third-party license, and TikTok Live automatic third-party license for the use of commentary, reaction, teaching, news reporting, research, comment, and criticism. I am legally within my basic human rights, civil rights, and constitutional rights to share under the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States my expressions, my views, thoughts, opinions, feelings, and my critiques. The First Amendment to the United States Constitution guarantees my freedom of religion, freedom to exercise of, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, free assembly, and the right to petition the government.
So it's not just me. We need to kind of look at this. Okay, you have my individual perspective that plays out on social media that everyone can kind of watch and see the level of hate and harassment that I get as an individual. But in my situation,
you get a lot of hate because not only are you a convicted murderer, you show absolutely no remorse, no accountability, no responsibility, no reformation or rehabilitation. This makes people in society that make up society very uncomfortable because it proves that our incarceration system, our justice system doesn't work. Gypsy Rose Blanchard wouldn't be getting a bunch of hate if she wasn't lying about it all and then making money off of it. She slanders, libels, defames her mother, Nicholas Godejohn, his mother, Stephanie Goldammer, and all of the medical doctors that she and her mother lied to and manipulated for years. The fact that somebody who commits first-degree premeditated murder, who should have faced the death penalty or life in prison, is out in only 8.5 years and then monetizes their entire crime and expects society to buy the lie? Yeah, no, not happening. It's not hate. It's not cyberbullying. You can try to dress it up and wrap it up as that, but that's not what it is. It is people fighting for the truth and fighting for true justice. Because we know one thing for damn sure, that Gypsy herself is not going to be the one to tell the truth. She doesn't want to make amends. She doesn't want to correct justice. And she certainly doesn't want to see people speaking the truth. Coming from somebody who wants to dress advocacy up in a pretty little bow and then wear it when it's convenient for monetary gain.
but it goes beyond me, and it also goes beyond the, average teen that's on social media.
There is something very seriously psychologically wrong here because Gypsy, again, is conflating teenagers with herself. You do know that she is going to be 34 very soon. We see this strategy and this tactic with other narcissists, sociopaths, borderlines, and histrionic personality types. Taylor Swift, Meghan Markle, even people like Casey Anthony want to project themselves as younger. Karen Reed has done it, and none other than Eugenia Cooney. All middle-aged women between their mid-30s and mid-40s who want people to perceive them as teenagers. Why do you think that is? Is that because they're trying to appeal to a younger audience?
This kind of is a society problem. Recently seen that the cast of the new Harry Potter series was just released. And the actress that is going to play Hermione has been getting major online backlash. And she's a child.
The only one constantly mentioning children is you, Gypsy.
So it's like, how is it okay for you not to actually get them copyright strike for stealing your content, but it's okay for them to come and mass report you and get you where you can't be monetized for a month, taken from you?
Exactly, because if they're pissed off, they're like, "Oh, she's making money off the crime." No, I'm not. I'm not talking about the crime. I'm not even talking about my mom. I'm not even talking about you know who, Voldemort.
I'm going to digress for a moment because this isn't the first time that movies and actors in the recent years have faced a lot of backlash, and it's not just because of woke culture. It's because people in general and fans of certain franchises are very tired of being told about inclusivity, because when you talk about inclusivity, including others, what you're doing is excluding others by way of inclusivity. Some of these live action films, like Lilo and Stitch, The Little Mermaid, or even Snow White, received a lot of criticism and backlash because of the character description versus who they are choosing to cast. It's not personal, but a lot of people don't like that huge deviation from a character. But Gypsy isn't talking about fans of Harry Potter. She's trying to make it sound like everybody is harassing a child. Yet, she's the one that is so obsessed with Harry Potter. She, in her own mind, equates Nicholas Godejohn with Voldemort. The only person you can compare yourself to from the Harry Potter franchise, Gypsy, is this person, Bellatrix Lestrange. With how sadistic and homicidal she was and her allegiance to Lord Voldemort, the Dark Master. And just like Bellatrix, you took the lives of 3 people. Dee Dee Blanchard, Nicholas Godejohn, and his mother, Stephanie Goldhammer. Does it sound familiar? Like Demona? Ruby?
Like, I get that she's an actress, and, you know, for those people that say, well, she puts herself out there, just like they tell me, well, you put yourself out there. Okay, but does that make it right?
Again, Gypsy, you are not an actress. You're not famous. You're not in a movie franchise. You are a convicted murderer. You are a pathological liar. You are a hypocrite.
I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm the only one that is sane.
Now you know that's a fucking joke. And you know psychologically, her body language is telling you that even she doesn't believe it. Look at the smile and the smirk that is on her face.
By saying it is not okay to harass a child. It's not okay to call a child names. A child, even an actress, should not be the target of bullying in any way, shape, or form.
What does people speaking their mind and their opinions about the new casting of Hermione in the new Harry Potter franchise, what has that got to do with cyberbullying and calling kids names? Nobody in their right mind is over here calling a child a name. Okay, at this point, this whole video that she has done is nothing but defamation. She is slandering left and right. This isn't even an example. What she's doing is conflating, again, certain content creators that talk about her and don't believe her lies with people that are bullying children, calling children names.
And I'm excited to see the new Harry Potter series. So this is just something that I think a lot of people need to look in the mirror and ask themselves on a daily basis. The content that I am putting out online for the world to see, is this helpful?
Yes, the truth is always helpful, and it is most preferred, actually.
Is this safe?
Yes, the truth is always safe.
Will this potentially impact someone in a negative way?
Not quite like your murder impacted many people in a negative way, but the truth being spoken about your case and your crime, yeah, the truth is always going to be a positive thing. The only thing you're worried about negatively being impacted is your wallet.
You really need to look at the weight that your words have on other people.
Let's talk about words. Let's talk about how you called Nicholas Godejohn an autistic little buttercup. How you offered up your 13-year-old daughter's V card for her 13th birthday. What about this? Where you say that Nicholas Godejohn is a psychopath and he is right where he belongs and he's going to stay there for the rest of his goddamn life. And anyone who defends that POS is flat out ignorant. Well, the same can be said about you. Since it was your plan, it was your murder. It was you who solicited somebody else to do it for you. Let's not even go into other things that I have screenshots of, like how you said Ken wouldn't even touch Nadatha's point with a 10-foot pole. How you yourself in your apology video to Ryan Anderson called yourself a piece of shit because you know you are lying for monetary gain. You know you are lying off of the back, the literal back of your mother. In life and death, that woman has endlessly served you, Gypsy, and the very heinous, brutal, violent way that she died automatically absolves her. Talking about names, talking about words, talking about hurting people, you should be in prison for your first-degree premeditated murder because that's what you truly did by definition and law. Missouri statute for first-degree premeditated homicide. Anybody over the age of 18 who knowingly causes the death of another.
For me, I know that I'm not perfect and I have done and said some things online that I regret. So, but I am growing from that, and I think that is something we should all do. We should all grow from the experiences that we've done as individuals.
There's that sociopathic we all the time that we need to grow as individuals. She is clumping her bad behavior in with other people's. You, first of all, haven't grown from your crime. You haven't grown from the murder of your mother. You haven't grown from the slander, libel, and defamation and throwing under the bus of Nicholas Godejohn. And when other people don't commit these kinds of crimes like cyberbullying, they don't have anything to worry about. You, on the other hand, do. And this is on your conscience and you are talking about it. So clearly that tells us where your mind is and where your perspective is.
Kind of moving on from there and kind of moving into the space of how I will handle social media with my own daughter. Obviously, we don't need to worry about that right now because she is only 5 months. But, one day it is going to be something. So
it already is, because you keep putting her on camera and you're driving around in the back of a Jeep with her not even buckled in correctly, without the car seat being anchored, with the carry handle in an upward position, and unbuckled yourself. If you cared about your baby, her rights, her constitutional, civil, and basic human rights, if you cared about her privacy, her safety, her future, you would stop monetizing her on TikTok lives. You would stop putting her all over Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and on national television. You would also stop putting cell phones and cameras in that baby's face because she's only 5 months old and that's all she knows already. You are the one setting her up to be bullied. You are the one exploiting your child and doing family vlogging for monetary gain. Nobody else, you.
I think that for me, I'm not going to be one of those parents that are like shove an iPad at their kid. I'm not. The dangers from everything from sorry, I need something to drink right now. The dangers from everything from online predators to cyberbullies to misinformation. I don't want her to be put in a compromising position.
She already is. You've already given pictures of her, and along with TMZ and People Magazine, as well as 60 Minutes, as well as Lifetime cameras, as well as you and Ken's cell phones, to be all over that baby's private safe space. And then there's the whole child endangerment, not even buckling her in correctly in the backseat of a moving Jeep.
I'm going to be one of those parents that's like, she'll get a phone, she'll get a tablet, whatever, at like 16.
You know that's a lie because her body language is telling us such. She's laughing as she says this. Literally laughing. I bet you 5-month-old baby Aurora already recognizes what a cell phone is. I bet you she sees her mother and father on their cell phone all the time.
And I know in society, phones are needed for kids, but there are certain safety features that are put in place for children. Kind of going into the topic of, okay, should kids even be on social media?
That's not your place to decide. But yeah, kids are allowed to sign up on most social media platforms at 13. And I'm going to show you this in just a minute, but it's been that way since 1996, Gypsy, for decades. Yeah.
Okay, I remember when Facebook came out, wasn't it like 18 that you had to have? You had to be 18 to have a Facebook?
Wrong. Right here, the age restriction for creating a MySpace was 13 years old. Same today for TikTok, for YouTube, for Facebook, and for Instagram. Users under the age of 14 cannot create accounts without parental consent. MySpace has also implemented stricter privacy controls for users aged 14 and 15, limiting visibility and contact from adults. And here is why that has always been a rule, because most social media platforms require users to be at least 13 without parental consent to join. As mandated by federal law, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, also known as COPA. This federal law prevents websites from collecting data of children under 13 without parental permission. 13 is the general minimum age, while some platforms and countries have higher requirements for age guidelines. In 1998, most middle-class and low-class households had either a PC or access to one and the internet. And in 1998, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act was passed. This was passed by Congress in the United States. This law states that online services cannot collect or share data from children under the age of 13 without parental permission. While COPPA doesn't specifically set a minimum age for using social media, it has heavily influenced the age restrictions set by social media platforms. And as the internet has grown in the last 3.5 decades, so has the laws, so has social media websites. It is literally the adult's responsibility to not engage with children.
And then I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look into what are the age guidelines for TikTok and Instagram, but I think that there needs to be a conversation had that where's the accountability on the parents?
Victim blaming at its finest, everybody, right here. Where's the accountability of the parents? That is quite literally no different than saying that little 8-year-old girl down the street shouldn't wear that skimpy sundress because it's going to tempt somebody. Victim blaming occurs when a victim of abuse or harm is held responsible for the abuse instead of the perpetrator. It involves attributing blame to the victim for the harm they experience, often suggesting that they somehow provoked it or deserved it, instead of saying that it's the adult's responsibility to not engage with the child. Saying things like, you shouldn't have been wearing that. It's the parent's responsibility. It's the parent's accountability. You should have fought back harder. You shouldn't have sent mixed messages. Why didn't you come forward sooner? I don't know, but Gypsy Rose Blanchard not only used the internet, but electronic devices with internet capability in the commission of her crime. She utilized Facebook, ChristianDatingForFree.com, texts, and email in order to, for almost 3 years, manipulate an autistic man with disability and mental health issues into helping her not only plan the homicide of her mother, but to actually carry it out. Is your mother responsible for your sneaking around and you're lying and you're doing all of that behind her back? So was your mother accountable for your bad behavior and your crimes too, Gypsy? So why is victim blaming harmful? Not only does it silence victims, it perpetuates the cycle of violence and it invalidates the victim's experience. So how do you combat that? It says to believe all survivors. Speak out against victim blaming. Hey, I'm currently doing that. Yay me. Hold abusers accountable. Gypsy is a convicted murderer. She should be held accountable. Doing the time for a sweetheart plea deal that was brokered for you is not the same thing as you doing the time for the actual crime you committed, which was first-degree premeditated homicide. Educate yourself and others. I'm also doing that currently. And I don't know, between part 1 and part 2, you guys let me know. Am I doing a better job than Gypsy's video itself?
Okay, I know that I, for one, don't want my daughter on social media at 12 and 13. Yeah.
Mother.
No.
No. No. No. Oh. I see how it is.
Gypsy knows best. Gypsy is so mature now. Such a clever grown-up miss.
And it's so much bigger than just kind of like, okay, I want my child to have a touch grass kind of childhood, a real childhood with toys and makeup and all the things that, you know, growing up in the 90s that we had. So
I thought Gypsy was chained to a bed. Now she had all these really cool toys and grew up in the 90s. I thought Gypsy was held in a shed for weeks, chained to a bed for weeks, hidden with a coat hanger and a closed fist. She never had a birthday or a birthday cake with numbered candles, which I proved before. I found 4 different pictures proving her wrong. But now she wants Aurora to have a touch grass kind of childhood, just like she did in the 90s with all the cool toys. Then I highly suggest you as a parent take accountability and stop putting cameras in that baby's face. Stop making content around her home, or with her in it. And also, Gypsy, don't be strict on her because she will get her hands on a laptop, a cell phone, a tablet, a TV, a gaming console. Even schools give Chromebooks out in elementary, middle, and high school. You don't want to pull a Dee and be really strict, right, Gypsy? Because if you do that, that's going to backfire and your daughter's going to grow up, well, like you.
It goes beyond that, but it's just basic smart parenting. And I'm not, trying to throw shade at anybody that has their kid have a tablet, whatever. I'm just saying, for me, it's my personal preference that I wouldn't want that for my daughter.
But what you don't realize is she's going to grow up and she is going to be her own woman and her own person who gets to make that choice for herself, not you. You don't get to make that choice for her. You do not own your baby. I repeat, you do not own your baby. Let's take a quick little look at the evidence. Case files, right? Laptop, circuit board, cell phone, entertainment game console, PC, ThinkPad, tablet, laptop, cell phone, personal cell phones, memory cards, cameras. Yeah, just go ahead and read that and see how many devices Gypsy had. Between her and Nick, yeah, she certainly used electronic devices, the internet, and social media in the commission of her crime.
And especially her being the daughter of me, knowing with all the challenges that we're gonna face. So I think as a society, we need to ask ourselves,
no, society doesn't have to ask itself anything. And there you go with the we and us. Ask yourself if you are okay with your behavior and the behavior of your family and your friends.
Is the things that we put out on social media worth the monetary, the temporary monetary gain that we get?
That we get. I don't know. Is it really worth the temporary monetary gain that you've gotten in the last 10 years doing over 27 different interviews, documentaries, TV shows, and books? Capitalizing your homicide of your own mother. Monetizing your crime. Monetizing defaming Nicholas Godejohn amongst every doctor that's ever seen and treated you.
Because if I look at the last year and a half that I have been free, the amount of rumors about me, Ken, my pregnancy, my life have been insane.
Not quite as insane as you lying all the time about your murder and why you murdered, and not quite as insane as what you want people to believe, because a lot of them ended up being true in the end.
Like, some of these conspiracy theories and rumors are insane. Like, I don't understand it, how anyone is able to think this up in their head, put it online. And the sad thing is we live in a society, especially with Gen Z, that they will see a video and take it as fact.
Gen Z, the generation that she just threw under the bus, that makes up over 92% of her followers, her supporters, and her fan base. Because anybody that has any kind of intellectual capabilities, anybody that has any logical comprehension or even reading skills can know, see, and read for themselves that you are lying, Gypsy. That you were pretending to be a paraplegic in a wheelchair with your mom. You murdered her over a boyfriend. You murdered her over being told, no, you cannot date strangers from the internet. So now you want to throw your fans and supporters under the bus. Because if one thing is true, my generation, and I will be 40 later this year, we are the generation that created the internet. We are the ones that grew up with it. But a lot of Gen Zers, that's all they've known. It's literally an aspiration, a desire, a passion for a lot of Gen Zers to become content creators or just to become famous, become a famous YouTuber. And it's not because they believe misinformation. It's because they believe in fame. They believe in content creation. They believe in making money off of it. And they believe in celebrity status, especially a social media celebrity status, one of which was curated for you for over 10 years and that you not only did not deserve, you didn't earn it organically. You got it the same way that Charles Manson, Jeffrey Dahmer, John Wayne Gacy, or Ted Bundy got theirs. Through heinous homicides, murder, killing, lying about it, covering it up, and then making money off of it once you're caught.
When it is complete slander, lies, and manipulation. There are still people out there that think that I was faking my pregnancy, that, oh, my daughter is a doll. Like, come on now. Come on now. So, ask yourself, and I'm talking to you, Nina. I'm talking to you, Morbid. I'm talking to Ash Too Trippy. I'm talking to Conspiracy.
It is no coincidence, and the irony is not lost on me, that every single one of those names that she just named are people that she once tried to manipulate into making positive, good content about her. And or two of them, she gave the information to dox Ken's ex-girlfriend to, hoping that they would make content to disprove all of the rumors that Ken is bisexual. Like that means anything. Yeah, he left you for a girl for a whole almost 6 years, Gypsy. That doesn't mean he still doesn't like to suck DICK in his spare time. Doxing his ex-girlfriend doesn't prove that he doesn't like to do other things in the bedroom. Not that any of that matters, because it doesn't, but the fact is that your answer to that was, here, let me dox his ex-girlfriend. Let's use Ash Too Trippy and Conspiracy to do that. And when they didn't, and they failed to be manipulated and gaslit by you, then you had a problem. Never mind, over a year ago, having a private conversation in private correspondence with Flawless Nina, asking her to keep it private, and then turning right around and giving it to Brie, who turned around and gave it to everybody else. Content creators are never going to trust you. You don't honor your word. Shit, you didn't even honor the life of your mother. You didn't even honor a 3-year relationship with Nicholas Godejohn and the love he had for you. You threw that poor young autistic man under the bus to save your own hide, and you had no qualms about doing it. That is who you are. That is what you are.
I'm talking to every single creator that has ever made Gypsy content. Ask yourselves, do you really believe the stuff that y'all put out?
When it's the truth, yes. And reporting on your actions, words, choices, and behaviors, absolutely, yes.
Is it worth the temporary monetary gain that y'all get?
I don't know, Gypsy. Was the temporary monetary gain of millions of dollars over 10 years and 27 books, interviews, documentaries, and TV shows, was that really worth it? Just to be exposed as a liar and a fraud in the end by your own case file evidence, circumstantial forensic evidence, and by the testimony of other witnesses, as well as your own words, actions, choices, and behaviors since being released?
Because to me, I know what's going on in my life. And there's nobody that I would be that concerned about to constantly keep making things up. Like, I don't get it. I don't.
Girl, show it. Show it. What was made up? What was fake? What was false? What was cyberbullying? Show it. Show your proof. Show your receipts. Those 4 names, myself included, have sources. And the only person that puts things out about your life is yourself, because you're the one who signed a contract with Lifetime to monetize and sell that life. It's quite literally called Life After Lockup. Your problem is that it's not favorable and it's not positive to your false narrative and your lies. But I dare her. Okay, you just named 4 names. Show how they are making things up. Show it. Prove it. Where's your receipts at, Gypsy? Yeah, thought so. So her answer, again, is to defame these 4 creators. Okay, accusing them of cyberbullying her and making things up and lies. Well, then you really should look to your own family, because there's people a lot closer to you than you think that are putting things out. Like the fact that a creator got a hold of a whole video a year later just to sit here and disprove that, oh, Ryan lied because he did see Gypsy once again at the door with cops. To collect her pictures from her mother's house and her crime scene, because Melissa G. Moore said, go get those pictures now, because that's where the money is at. That's how we can make it look like you were medically abused. Without them, There's nothing.
There's nobody in this world that I'm that concerned over. I got enough going on with my life and being a mom. It's just not okay. And you know, the sad thing is that, you know, I don't care if people like me, if they don't like me.
Okay, I'm going to call bullshit on that one right there.
I don't care. My issue, if you want to dislike me all day long. It doesn't hurt my feelings. Where it gets under my skin is that certain creators put headings on their videos. Gypsy Blanchard did this. Gypsy Blanchard did that. And it's completely untrue.
Once again, her body language is giving her away. Not only is she shifting her eyes to the left and the right when she lies, but she's actually smiling when she says this, meaning that she herself doesn't even believe what she is saying. Gypsy Rose, told by Bestie to lie to her PO. True. Ken and Gypsy broke up. Ken and Gypsy are having problems. Gypsy doxed another person. Gypsy cyberbullied another person. Gypsy spent hundreds of dollars on a new stroller and then says she's demonetized and only has $50 to her name and has to borrow money from her dad. Gypsy says she was demonetized for no reason, yet she violated TikTok community standards when she made a physical threat to Ryan, saying on a live that she was going to punch back 10 times harder, using TikTok stories to then further perpetuate doxing of his private medical information and his private correspondence with her dad. All true, and true. If any of them were not true, then show it. Just show exactly what it is you are talking about.
There's so much that I feel like I hold back from saying on social media because I feel like it's not worth my time to spend my energy always correcting these rumors.
Ha! Ha! That's laughable. That's all she does. You know it, because go look at her comment section of anything when the comments are on. Even she doesn't believe it. She's over there smirking and shifting her eyes left to right, up and down.
And I literally live such a simple life that my life is not as interesting as y'all think. So honest.
That is the one thing that is the truth. Yeah, your life is boring. And yeah, it's not exciting. That's why you have to create sociopathic drama and actively harm hundreds of other people, because you have to have some kind of validation that your life has meaning, that it has excitement. And let's not even get into your weird psychology and psychological need for triangulation between Ryan and Ken, how you want to be the Bella to the Edward and the Jacob. That was all through your own actions, words, choices, and behaviors.
I make a video of what it's like in my daily life and people are like, that was boring. Yeah, my life is boring. So that's it's not always going to be drama filled and exciting, and Gypsy gets into it with her ex, and you know, Gypsy's texting this person, and that is not my everyday life.
Yes, it is, because you make it so, and you're sitting there smiling and laughing as you say that.
My everyday life is feeding my baby, changing my baby, watching a TV show, playing with my baby, you know, playing a board game with Ken. Like that's my life. I think people have this idea that we're characters, and we're not. We're real life people with real life feelings.
And fuck your feelings. Your feelings don't matter anymore. You forfeited that when you didn't give a shit about your mom's feelings, when you gave a fuck about Nicholas Godejohn's feelings, when you gave a fuck about his mother's feelings, or his family, his supporters, his friends. Your feelings come last to everything else. And your feelings certainly take a back seat to the motherfucking truth. And sorry for the cussing, but that really just got under my skin. Seriously, your feelings. What about everybody else's feelings, Gypsy? Do you ever consider anybody else's feelings other than your own?
Feelings that are valid, and we are trying to navigate the public eye the public opinion while still maintaining a humble presence that we get humbled on a daily. And we are not perfect. We never claim to be perfect.
Well, duh, Captain Obvious. Miss Sherlock Holmes over here. Yeah, we know you're not perfect. You're a convicted murderer and a pathological liar and a hypocrite. Good and decent people don't kill other people and then lie about it and then capitalize and monetize their crime. They also don't continue to lie about it all and slander and defame and libel other people to continue to double down and triple down on that same lie. You care more about a paycheck. You care more about being paid $10,000 per speaking engagement. You care more about being on People Magazine and TMZ and staying relevant in some way, shape, or form, more than you care about your own child or anybody else. What you care about is your false sense of celebrity, but you're not famous. You're infamous for murder and for lying.
So when we post on social media, we are posting as not as celebrities. We are posting as an everyday person. And why do we post on social media to begin with? I've seen a lot of people say, well, she needs to get offline. Okay, that goes to the First Amendment right. I have the right to have a voice. I have the right to speak my mind. I have a right to speak publicly.
But the First Amendment doesn't cover lies. It doesn't cover lies that amount to defamation or cyberbullying, stalking, harassment, or physical threats. The First Amendment doesn't cover you lying about your crime and why you did it. The First Amendment doesn't cover you defaming doctors or Nicholas Godejohn or anybody else. The First Amendment also covers free assembly. Me and all other content creators that news report on you or give freely our thoughts, feelings, expressions, views, or opinions, or even our critiques, have the right under the First Amendment to assemble, meaning we have the right to protest. We have the right to petition the government under the First Amendment. We have the right to come together and to air our grievances as an assembly. The First Amendment explicitly states exactly this.
There is nothing that is in my parole paperwork that is preventing me from being online.
And that is where the justice system fucked up, because it should be. You used the internet and social media in the commission of your crime for almost 3 years, planning it too.
And I feel like, hey, if I want to post a fun selfie, if I want to post a video, me and Ken doing a trendy dance video, whatever, you know, we're not doing it because we're attention seeking. We're not doing it because we, you know, want anything from it. We're just having fun. And it's so sad to see so many people tear us and my family and me down.
Opinions and critiques are not tearing somebody down.
Because it makes them feel better. And the sad part is they can get away with it. You can report comments, you can report videos, but there's so much that slides by that I always see no violation, no violation, no violation.
She just admitted that she mass reports because she goes to her report index and it says no violation, no violation, no violation. Mass reporting is a violation. Well, she done fucked up with that slip up. She also weaponizes TikTok, the stories, the live, and her video content itself, making a physical threat to punch back 10 times harder, making a threat to leak private correspondence, then also leaking private medical information, and then leaking even more private correspondence. That and comments, even DMs, are a violation on TikTok. Now we know why your friend Bree has gone through 10 different accounts and why you were demonetized.
This person straight called me stupid. They hate me. It says on their video the word hate. No violation. What else can I do?
Be a grown-up and get off social media.
So, I have struggled the past year and a half with social media. You see that play out in the show. You see that play out in my reactions. A lot of people are like, don't go watch it, don't look at it, don't read the comments. I'm human. I'm gonna read the comments.
Again, most public figures, politicians, and celebrities don't even run their own social media to even access the comments. No, they don't. I am so bad at getting back to comments. I try. I really, really try. But it's very hard sometimes to catch them all. And when you have hundreds and hundreds, it's hard. It's really hard to get to each one. I don't even find the time to do it. I can't even imagine having 9.5 million followers on one platform and being that obsessed with the comment section.
I'm gonna wanna speak my piece. I'm gonna wanna have my voice. Let's just be real, for almost 24 years of my life with my mother, I was kept from having a voice.
No, you weren't. You weren't kept from having a voice. You used your voice and your lies to manipulate a man with autism. You used your voice and your lies to take your mom's life. You used your voice and your lies to literally manipulate and gaslight doctors. Now you're using your voice to lie further and to falsely accuse people of defamation, doctors of defamation, and content creators of cyberbullying. How about you do something new for a change? Why not switch it up like Nintendo, like Sabrina Carpenter says, and actually tell the truth for once?
Then I went to prison and was in prison for 8.5 years, where I still didn't have a voice. So of course, the first year and a half of my freedom, I'm gonna want to have a voice, and I'll be judged for it. It will get picked apart and twisted in some type of way that makes me out to be a horrible person.
You are a horrible person. That is guaranteed, and God will judge you on your judgment day. The same for all of us. Instead of trying to pick apart every comment and every video and everything anybody ever says about you, why don't you start looking at yourself, asking yourself why and when you're going to tell the truth?
Instead of just understanding the things that I'm saying and the simplicity of it, it has to have some deep meaning. It doesn't. It really doesn't. It can just be what it is. But nobody can take it as just what it is. So I want people to recognize that even though, sorry, that's the air conditioner that I can't stand. I want people to understand that, yes, our family puts themselves out there on a TV show and on social media, but there are things that should not be okay, and that's telling someone that they need to unalive themselves, going after their children. Children should never, in any context, frame, or fashion, be the target of harassment and bullying in any form or fashion.
Yeah, no content creator told her to take her life. Nobody ever said that, or she would show that and she would go to the police like any normal adult would do. How about those of us who've had our children's schools literally called, had to have safety plans put in place because of you and your friends and your behavior? Calling people's homes, trying to get their children evicted from their home. Yeah, okay, Gypsy, you have some MFing audacity.
If you hate me, cool, whatever. But don't leave my child out of it. Leave other people's children out of it. It's just a line you should never cross. For me, I'm an adult. I could take it. There is not a single word on the planet that people have not called me yet. And at this point, when they call me the M word, at this point, I'm like, okay, can you come up with something better?
Because you are a murderer, and out of 340 million American citizens, not even 400,000 people can say that. Liar, hypocrite. How about cyberbullier, stalker, harasser, defamer, slanderer, adulterer, sociopath, narcissist, borderline, Shall we continue? And that is based off of her own actions, words, choices, and behaviors for a year and a half.
Because I've been being called that for years and years and years. To my family, I'm not. To my friends, I'm not. I'm just Gypsy. To the people that love me and care about me, and I love them and care about them. To the general public, yes, I have a criminal history. Did I do the crime? Yes. Did I do the time? Yes.
No, you didn't do the time for what you really did.
And now it's kind of like, move forward. What else is there to do? Move forward. There is nothing that's going to bring my mother back. There's nothing that I can do that is going to bring back that life.
No, but you can make amends and you can try to correct the course of justice. You can take accountability and you can take every last penny you make monetizing and capitalizing off of your crime and give it back to others selflessly, because you are really remorseful. But we don't see that. We see the opposite. And not only do you make money, but Mike Stanfield and Melissa G. Moore make money off of you as well. And you know that Mike Stanfield knows the truth.
So all I can do is make myself a better person, raise my daughter to be a better person than what I was growing up. And I hope that my daughter grows up to be 10, 20, 30 times better daughter and person than I will ever be.
We can only hope and pray that that is the truth, because we know you're a convicted murderer and a liar, but you're also a self-proclaimed piece of shit.
And I have the support in my family and with Ken and myself to raise her to be that way. Becoming a mother has changed me in so many ways that, and changed me for the better. Growing up, I didn't have that strong moral compass.
And you still don't. And you're shaking your head no, which means you don't even believe it. You were so spoiled and entitled that you felt entitled enough to take somebody's life. And then you feel so entitled now that you can lie about it and continue gaslighting all of the world and society. Not anymore. From the moment you stepped outside of those prison gates, people and content creators in society have been onto you. And that is what this whole video is all about.
Instilled in me by a parent. So I think the things that I want to teach my daughter is to 100% always do what's right. Do what's right even though you might face repercussions.
Why? You don't do what's right, so why are you saying us and we? I didn't murder my mom. I don't hurt people. I don't do the things that you do. You need to do the right thing. You need to apologize and you need to start telling the actual truth.
The right thing is not always easy. The right thing sometimes requires you to admit that you're wrong, face backlash. The easy route is easy for a reason.
You took the easy way out and you ended up with celebrity and wealth. It's harder to actually be a good and decent human being when you're not that in your core. And you can tell because Gypsy has a hard time struggling with the truth. It goes against her vanity, her conceit, her psychological egoism. She just wants you, me, and everybody else to shut up and bow down to her. Hell no, never gonna happen. How about you start telling the truth, little Miss Gypsy?
So, doing things the hard way may be difficult in the moment, but it pays off in the long run. And you earn respect that way. So, those are some morals that I want to teach my daughter to bring her up to be a much better person than I am.
Did she not just say that she did not grow up with a moral compass and that she doesn't have a moral compass? Well, duh. We all knew that. You killed your mom. You still lie about Nicholas Godejohn and the crime. But you actually have to have morals to be able to teach them and instill them in a child.
But I'm kind of getting off track of the topic of this video. So, with that being said, I think in the general message of this video, I really want people to understand that just because, you know, you have an opinion and you don't like someone, it's totally okay to just keep it to yourself. And it's
Why? It's much more fun to give our opinion on the internet as content creators because that's what we do. It's much more fun to talk about it. My First Amendment right says that I have the right to my free speech as long as I am telling my genuine thoughts, feelings, opinions, views, critiques. I'm not lying and I'm not acting with malice or ill intent. I'm just speaking the truth. If you can monetize a lie, Gypsy, then us content creators can monetize the truth.
It's totally okay to have a voice as long as you keep it respectful. You can say to me or anyone else, you know what, I agree to disagree. Let's just agree to disagree. And that is 100% okay. What is not okay is calling someone out of their name, gossip, slander, lies. That is not okay. That is, that's detrimental to someone's mental health.
Did you care about the detriment to your mom's mental health or Nicholas or his mother, Stephanie Goldhammer's?
And at the end of the day, you just don't know how you are affecting someone's reputation, their livelihood, their the way their kids view them, the way their sister, brother, family members view them. It is 100% accountability on your part to make the first step.
It's accountability on your part to start telling the actual truth.
So you have that power. I have that power. We all have that power. I'm not one of those like people that are, cheesy and it's like peace, love, and, hippie, whatever. But no, honestly, it is about kindness. Look at how much war, look at how much destruction, people's anger has done to the world.
What does that have to do with war? War goes back to the very beginning of ancient human history.
And I feel like we are in a time now that hate and anger is just festering in every corner of the world. And cyberbullying is a epidemic of massive proportions that don't get talked about enough. So, as someone who does receive a lot of hate on social media, as well as a lot of support.
But yet you only focus on the hate. You only focus on people telling the truth. Meanwhile, you being released out of prison and being very present on social media has created the most toxic environment that I have ever seen in my entire life. And I grew up with the internet. You are single-handedly the most dangerous and the most destructive person.
I'm not going to say everybody hates me, but I will say that, I've had my fair share. And how I deal with it. To anyone that's watching this video, I want to say, if you are receiving online bullying and harassment or bullying in any kind of way, my secret is I have always had hope for a better tomorrow. And if tomorrow is shit, then a better next day after that. Because that hope has gotten me through everything in my life. That is my secret. I have a hope for a better tomorrow.
Again, proving that you are truly not a victim of abuse and you are truly not a survivor, because us true victims and survivors, we had little room for hope. In the darkest, deepest depths of our trauma, there is no hope.
That's going to get you through so much. And I will also put the information for the help hotline and any resources that can help you, so you can do some outreach if you are in the headspace of you are at the end of your rope, you are sick and tired, you don't want to go on. There are places that you can call.
Oh, okay, so this isn't about her? No. This whole video is about her shutting up specific haters, aka people who tell the truth about her actions, words, choices, and behaviors from the time she was born, leading up to her crime, her incarceration, and now her actions, words, choices, and behaviors since being released from prison.
There is a helpline. You are not alone. Everybody faces this at some point in their life. Sometimes it's more extreme than others. So I want to help you. I want to be a voice for you. I want to be a friend to you. I see you.
No, she doesn't, because she just spent 30 minutes literally making it all about her and herself.
You're not alone. So I will put that information down below this video. Okay, so that was my giant 32-minute rant of, talking about cyberbullying, my experience, my hope for my child, the things that need to change in our society, the things that need to change in us, to kind of recap everything.
I know one thing is true. You're not going to take away our First Amendment right. You're not going to take away our right to tell the truth, because lies and defamation are not covered under the First Amendment. And you're also not going to take away any of our rights in regards to social media with censorship or bans.
So please start having those conversations with your friends, with your family, with your daughter, with your son, with your brother, everybody. Have these conversations. Talk about how serious this is and how the words that we say, speak, type has such a long-lasting impact on the lives of others.
Just ask all the victims in your wake what they think about your words, your actions, your choices and behaviors, Gypsy, and what that's done to them, their lives, and their future. Because 3 of them don't even have one because of you. I can't say that. I literally cannot say that I took the lives of 3 people.
Please share this video, like this video. This is a huge, important topic to talk about, especially in today's society that technology is kind of taking over the planet.
Technology has been slowly taking over the planet since they invented microwaves. This is not new. This is something going back over 70 years ago. You and your want for censorship and bans is never going to happen, especially in regards to content creators and people in society.
So, thank you so much for watching, and I will put that information below this video.
Right here on screen, I list multiple resources for anybody who is struggling with bullying, cyberbullying, or need help in support and prevention. There are many ways that you can call or text and reach out for help. There are also international websites listed here. Thank you so much for watching part 2. And if you really liked my video, please subscribe, like, turn on notifications, and share.